Hi there, welcome back to Triplicate, and it's been a while since we have torn into any plastic, electronic, cheap stuff. So let's have a look at this. So this is an insect zapper. Let's find a pen. So this outside mesh is essentially ground, and the fine mesh on the inside is connected to, I think, 2 or 3 kilovolts with a fair bit of punch behind it, and you just zap it onto your fly and there's a horrible big spark and a smell of burning insect, and it does for your fly. Well, theoretically you then have to dispose of your fly, otherwise it seems to come back from the dead even. They're amazingly robust things, flies. However, it's better than squashing it all over the window with a newspaper or something. So we don't use this in the winter, so we got it out. Well, it's the end of June now. Yeah, well, it'll be about start of June, and didn't work. So I opened up the battery compartment, which was taped on because if you rattle it, that's the bit that holds the battery compartment in, so it doesn't owe anybody anything. And I found the batteries inside were, where's one of them? Primark, okay, possibly not the best brand of battery known to mankind. And it's got manky, hence I'm holding it with the forceps. So that will go over here back in the box of batteries for recycling. So it didn't look like it had done too much damage, so I cleaned out the battery compartment. And it didn't seem too corroded, but then I tried to power it up. And so I've got it powered up, connected up to the power supply on 3 volts instead of mucking around with batteries, because we can see if it's drawing, how much current it's drawing, if any. The negative connected to there, so we connect the positive to there and press the little button, and it's not drawing any current, which means either the electronics in here are completely dissolved in corrosive gloop out of the batteries, or there's a simple break in the connections from the battery terminals to the circuit board. So, and without further ado, let us get a screwdriver and see what's inside it. Right, for once I've got a suitable sized, if somewhat grubby, screwdriver out before turning the camera on, so I'm not filming me rattling in a drawer looking for a screwdriver. So here we go. 3 screws, I reckon. Right, off she comes. Well, first impressions, I'll zoom you in. Sadly, it does look pretty corroded along here, and that's the switch, and along into here. This board looks like it ought to come out fairly readily, but it doesn't. Oh, that's not good. That's not at all good. However, right, I shall see what's actually holding that board in. Right, it just seems to be this little post here, and the battery terminal, so out she comes, and that will come off there fairly readily. So yep. Oh well, that's the... Well, if we get it going, there's some cleaning required in there. So let's spin it over. Okay, so I'm guessing there's a little LED to tell you it's powered up. I'm guessing that's a transistor. We'll test to see if we can get a part number off it. And I'm guessing that is a little transformer. And these are rectifiers. So somehow the transistor, and there's no capacitor, so I guess it kind of uses the transformer's inherent resonance to oscillate. And I guess that is a reservoir capacitor for the zapper, so you press the button and it charges it up. And that's the bit that stores the charge to actually zap the insect. Pretty simple, but it does the job. Right, so shall we see if we can find out why it's not powering up, and see if we can resurrect it. Right then, so we have here our meter. So let's try and test the continuity along these tracks for the power. So, yep, okay to there. If we can... Not so good there. How about this one? Okay, so let's try from here. Okay, so we're holding on to it, so we've got a chance of see if well, that's interesting. Am I pressing this switch? Okay, so that's one end of the meter. So again, if we put this on here, come here, come on, yeah, near as good. Near as makes no odds. So if we put this on here, we're getting 30 odd K. Now this, the battery, oh come on, the battery terminal only goes to this end of this switch. The switch is not pressed. Okay, so the switch is not pressed, so we are getting a kind of reading across it, 40 odd K. We press the switch, oh, goes down to 39 K. 36k. Oh dear, it would appear that little switch has, yeah, you can see it's furry around it. That little switch has got the corrosive gunk in it. I'm pretty sure I won't have one, and I could probably buy one, but probably not worth it. Okay, yeah, you can see it's furry. Oh dear. Okay, so I've reverse engineered the circuit to a point. I don't really want to be bothered spending too much time on it. So there's off a couple of screen grabs off video footage, and you can see the blue lines in the top picture are the connections taken from the bottom picture, and here I have drawn it out. So this is the low voltage side, and the D965 is the little transistor, which is wired like that, which is using the induction of the coil as an oscillator to oscillate. And because the transistor is wired across the supply, I'm presuming it's using the internal resistance of the battery as a load resistor, so it probably wouldn't have worked anyway with my power supply, because it's regulated, it has effectively no internal resistance. Anyway, let's move on to the interesting side, the high voltage side, which is capacitors and diodes. So we'll look at that in a minute. There's a big reservoir capacitor which stores the charge, and a couple of resistors which discharge it when you're not using it, so it doesn't sit there with 1,000 volts on it waiting to zap an unwary finger. And it's two resistors in series because they probably couldn't afford 1,000 volt resistors. Okay, so how does this work? Okay, so what's going on here? Well, the other bit oscillates at quite a high frequency. You can hear it sizzling, so it's got a kind of 20 kilohertz or something, and it's a transformer, so this has AC on it. So let us consider the case where, which of these am I going to use as which? That side is positive and this side is negative. So that diode will be conducting forward, so that side of that capacitor will be positive and this side of this capacitor will be negative. That diode will be conducting, so that side of that capacitor will be positive and that side of that capacitor will be negative. Okay, now let us consider the situation when in the other phase, so the polarities flipped round, so we have positive here and negative here. Okay, now the capacitor has stored that charge, so now this side is negative, but this side, I'm going to use black, is double negative. Similarly, this side is positive. Let's get my colour code right. This side is positive, but because that charge voltage is stored across that capacitor, this side is double positive. Okay, so this system will end with basically double negative here and double positive here, and that diode and that diode just blocks anything the other way and charges that capacitor up. So there you go, that's how that works. And the wires, usual cheap horrible wire, they broke off the ends there, and just trying to find what I did with the rest of the bits. Yep, so they are on eBay, a few pounds, so I am really not going to be bothered fixing this. I've got loads of other things I want to get on with, so this is going for scrap. Well, that was an interesting little journey into the ways of insect zappers. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to leave the insect zappers here and move back on to more serious products. So until then, it's goodbye from Triplicate. Goodbye.